It's been 4 months since my last video, so I thought it was about time to fire up the old Oppo and get back into the swing of things. If you hadn't noticed already, I am back in a colder climate. Yay! It is so nice after 2.5 years of living in the tropics to have a winter again. To wear long sleeves, more than one layer, and have my hair out without sweating profusely. Going outside and doing housework, and even just sitting down doing nothing without sweating is just... you have to live it to understand. This is probably the first time I have ever worn warm clothes on this channel. So, what happened? At the end of April, Tom was offered a job based in Perth, so we took it. Obviously, we wanted to move back home and we'd paid our dues well and truly. We had just over 2 weeks from when we gave notice to packing up our rental, doing our exit clean and driving back to Perth. Because of the flooding in the Kimberley at the time that we were heading back, we actually couldn't use the more direct route from Darwin to Perth. We had to go via Port Augusta in South Australia. For anyone who's not familiar, this meant instead of doing this, I'll put something on the screen, our drive ended up looking more like this. All up, it actually was only an extra 7 hours of driving to go the slightly longer way, and we hadn't actually driven through South Australia or the Nullarbor before, so we were kind of excited to see something new. We ended up driving about 52 hours over 4.5 days. Lots of driving, very few stops, but we were swapping drivers about every 2 hours just to be safe, and had some awesome podcasts and an audiobook to keep us company and awake. The highlight of the trip was probably waking up at the Nullarbor Roadhouse, which is near the Great Australian Bight, which we had never seen before, and we went out to the cliffs at sunrise. We weren't really prepared for the cold weather though, so we only stayed as long as our shivering bones could take it, and then we were back on the road again. So after driving south for 2 days and then west for 2 and a bit days, we were back in Perth. And boy, are we grateful to be home again. And grateful for my mum letting us crash with very, very short notice. We spent the first month or so back doing a lot of social catch-ups with friends and family. Then we got stuck into a bit of unpacking and renovations. We ripped up some kitchen tiles and carpet and laid some floating floor. It's something I've never done before, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. There's something really satisfying about seeing that progress across the room and cutting out all the little bits to fit around doorways and weird angles. Just ticks all the boxes for me and my Virgo brain. It's looking pretty good if I do say so myself. I tried to film this update video about a month ago, but the weather is so changeable at the moment. Even this footage will be light and dark and all over the place, so I apologize. But it was worse when I first filmed this because I didn't realize how much it was fluctuating until the very end. I just filmed a 20-minute video and then realised that half of it was too dark to be usable. I don't even know where I got up to before it went to poop, but starting again. Then we demolished the house to do the renovations and I didn't have a spot to film, so we've had to wait an extra few weeks to settle again, and believe me when I say I have cleared this space and nowhere else. This background is still a work in progress. I've already brought in some of my own books up the top here, but the rest are my mum's because she has very kindly let me take over her front room as a filming space. So I plan to bring in some more of my own books and some knickknacks to just decorate behind me. I know, I just did all that work on that bookshelf in Darwin and Julie just had to sell it a few weeks later, but c'est la vie. It wouldn't be one of my videos if I didn't talk about the lighting and sound. Cue the bus going past. I promise one of these days I will have the lighting and sound sorted for every video, but my mum picked me up some little devices to help, which was very, very sweet of her. Speaking of the lighting, a massive cloud is just going over, so it's probably super dark and dingy like a dungeon right now. One of the devices was this little light set. Hopefully that can just stop so much of the fluctuations when clouds are going past, because it literally goes from dark and gloomy to apocalyptic sun within seconds and I just cannot keep up. I haven't tested them out yet, so I thought maybe we could do a little unboxing together and hopefully I don't embarrass myself with trying to figure out how to make them work. Okay. Why is there so much tape? Ooh. So it just comes with these two little LED lights. Looks like they are USB powered. Oh, okay. There's just these little inserts to change the color. Plus there's a little switchboard halfway down the cord that has on and off and up and down. So hopefully that means there's a pretty good range of intensities as well. It's a fairly decent length, but I do have a power board down there that I can put one of those little things that allow multiple USBs to be plugged into. And then under the foam tray, we have the little tripods. So you've got a little weapon, kind of looks like a warhammer, a handheld stick to like, there's little tripod standy boy. Alright, so this is what it's looking like assembled. I'm going to sit it on a suitcase because that's what's right there, and plug it in and have a little play with the settings. Okay, this is probably looking really disgusting right now, but this is the white filter. Oh, I've got to stop looking at it. This is the white filter on the highest intensity, and now I'm going to try the yellow toned filter. I apologize for how ghastly this probably looks. It's all for the research. Oh, that's quite yellow. This is probably not going to look so great, but let's try anyway. It's quite yellow, isn't it? Yes. I don't think that works, does it? But I probably can cut out some filters of my own of other gentler shades and use these really intense blues and greens for, you know, like cosplay photo shoots and the like. Use your anger. I definitely need to play around with it a bit more because I feel it's too much high definition. We need to soften it out, but I'll work on that when I'm not filming. Let's move on to some updates. Aside from social catch-ups since we've been back, I've actually attended a lot of writing community events, which has been really fun. It's so lovely to finally immerse myself after making this career change and really prioritizing my writing and my creativity. Since I've been back, I've attended a couple workshops at the State Library hosted by Writing WA. I went to a New Dawn Publishing book launch for their most recent book, The Anatomy of Songs, which I've just finished reading and thoroughly enjoyed. I also went to Sasha Worsley's recent book launch at Woodbridge House for her historical fiction Snapshots from Home. I am four or five chapters in, and again, really enjoying it so far. It's really encouraging to see an author thrive across multiple genres She addressed this at her book launch while in conversation with Tess Woods about how she has written for children, for adults, contemporary, science fiction, and now historical fiction, and her publisher has supported her on that journey. As someone who writes quite sporadically around genres myself, it's really inspiring to see someone succeed in their writing career without being pigeonholed. So thank you, Sasha, for being an inspiration there. I also went to the Great Big Book Club hosted by Fremantle Press to hear Natasha Lester talk about her debut novel from way back when, because it's being republished as a new edition by Fremantle Press.
Other opportunities can often feel quite closed off from you at different ages and phases of your life.
It was such a cozy chat, despite that one lady who attended just to grumble with an audience. And I can't wait for some more of the book club talks later in the year. As for my own writing, my goals for the rest of the year haven't really changed too much. I should probably do like a resolution. Do you ever say words and no matter how you say it, they don't sound right? I'm having a brain meltdown. Resolution. I should probably check in with my goals that I set at the start of the year to see how I'm progressing and make sure I'm kicking butt. I plan to finish my current work in progress, which is still quite in its infancy. I've done a chapter by chapter breakdown and written about 10,000 words of the actual story. I want to start submitting my YA Australian small town teen drama and possibly even submit it for a manuscript assessment just to get a professional opinion before I continue to rework it. I'm also sharing the first installment of my sci-fi series with friends and family for the first time since I finished the first draft, so that's exciting and scary at the same time. Looking more for just the general plotline, the characters, the world building. Is it enjoyable? That kind of feedback. I mentioned earlier I went to the New Dawn Publishing book launch recently. I'm really excited by the kind of work that they're interested in because I think my sci-fi series would be a really good fit because it's a speculative fiction with a little bit of psychological drama and very character-driven narrative, which I've read Anatomy of Songs and it's very much similar vein, but science fiction instead of fantasy. So hopefully I can prepare a good submission by the end of the year. I'm going to check out the book they published last year, The Assassin Thief, as well as reading more broadly in sci-fi in general to get together some comparable titles and really hone in on my pitch to the publisher. I've also re-enrolled to university to finish my degree, although I am swapping from a Bachelor of Science to a Bachelor of Arts so that I can study creative writing. Not only am I looking forward to learning more about the writing craft and being able to get feedback from tutors and peers, it'll just be nice to have a little accreditation that can jump in the ring for me and throw some punches and say, hey, I can write. Pay attention. So I'm really looking forward to my studies starting in August and I should be finished by the end of next year. I'm really making one of my goals to put myself out there more with networking, being sociable within the writing community, both at physical events and online. Getting to know my peers, people who could be colleagues, mentors, or readers, attending more events to support other local artists and authors because it is such a small community and we're all in the same boat so we can row together. As for YouTube, we left off with my Bo-Katan helmet, part 1, 4 months ago. Honestly, it must be the longest gap between a part 1 and part 2 creative build. Let me know if you have seen one that was longer, because I reckon I've just got the Guinness World Record for that one. Woo! I'm hoping to continue with the finishing touches on the helmet so that I can put it all together for part 2 in the next couple weeks. Let's be realistic, it's not going to happen tomorrow. Then I can move on to the next project because I do have an event coming up in August that I'm making a costume for, which I am very quickly running out of time to make. Go lay down. Since putting in the new hard floors, her nails are just even after giving them a trim. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to say today. It's been a really busy 4 months and it doesn't look like it'll be slowing down anytime soon. I just wanted to pop in a little update video to say, hey, I'm still around while I'm getting back into some projects. So stay tuned for some content in the near future. But in the meantime, you know the drill. Like a video to feed the creator for a day, subscribe to support them forever. Until next time, stay creative. Oh, that is bright. I just blinded myself. Australian... Hey train. I just got to the end of filming and realised I completely forgot to mention the other device that my mum picked up for me, which was this really cute little microphone boom set. Yeah, we'll try that out in another video because that's it for today. Okay, bye!